a Connor Williams update on today's show. This is Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. I am Nic Rohloff because his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, went on a show and outlined a outlook, if you will, on the rest of free agency for Connor Williams, who is among some of the top NFL free agents still available, specifically on the interior offensive line. Make sure you are subscribed, though, and help us reach a massive milestone here at the channel. We are 84 subscribers away from 57,000. Hit that sub button because we have Dolphins content every single day surrounding your Fins. And if we get to 57K on this video, on Wednesday's show, I will come and chug a beer to open up that show. So help us get there. Hit that sub button. It is unlikely that Connor Williams will re-sign with the Miami Dolphins. The two-season veteran in Miami wants to play center, and after Miami signed Aaron Brewer to a 3-year deal in free agency to replace Williams after he suffered that catastrophic knee injury, it doesn't seem likely that Connor will return to this Dolphins roster. Miami needs a right guard, and that's where Williams would play if they re-signed him, but it feels like he doesn't want to play right guard. He wants to stay at center, so Chris Grier and the Dolphins will likely have to go elsewhere. The reason why I see that is because, well, we mentioned Drew Rosenhaus had an update on his client today, and he said on behalf of Connor, I'm sure he'd be open to it, but I wouldn't say that it's likely that he would return here with the Dolphins. Certainly wouldn't rule anything out, but the Dolphins did sign a fine center in Aaron Brewer from the Tennessee Titans and made a big investment. So I think Connor, wherever he signs, it will be as a center. And that's kind of where I feel like Connor Williams returning to Miami is kind of dead, because if he truly does want to only play center, then there feels like there is no pathway for him to return to Miami because, well, the only need that the Dolphins have on the offensive line is at that right guard position, and I don't think Aaron Brewer is going to move to right guard. Now, you could say, hey, Aaron, we signed you a 3-year deal. Do you mind playing right guard and bring back Connor Williams? I just don't think that's the case. Brewer has played center his entire career, was signed to Miami to play that position. So it looks like they'll have to go a different direction in free agency or just stick with what they have at right guard with Robert Jones, Jack Driscoll, Liam Eichenberg, or Lester Cotton. Because the only reason why you would sign Connor Williams is for that right guard spot, and if he doesn't want to play it, it's not going to force his hand, right? There's other contending teams, allegedly, that want Connor Williams, have been in contact with him in the past week or so in free agency. So if he has teams that want him to sign with them to play center, then there's absolutely no chance he comes to Miami if the only thing they're offering him is a chance to play right guard. So be honest with me. Is the Connor Williams return to Miami dream dead? If you're with me and you think it's dead, type those Ds. If you're an optimist and think there's still a chance he could return to the 305, type A for alive. Like I said, I think it's dead, and it's quite the bummer because Connor Williams was really, really good for Miami in terms of blocking over the past year and a half, and he was on his way to another fine season before he ruptured his knee in that game against the Titans on Monday Night Football. So I would have liked to see him return to Miami on a team-friendly deal to try to help fortify this interior offensive line and take Miami deep into the playoffs and hopefully a Super Bowl, because he is one of the top interior offensive linemen in all of football. And ever since making the transition from left guard to center, going from Dallas to Miami, he was terrific in terms of his blocking, and it feels like that is his natural position that he just did not play for the Cowboys, that he found in Miami. Put up really good PFF numbers in back-to-back seasons. Sure, the pass blocking is lacking a little bit, but one of the best run-blocking interior offensive linemen there is. And yes, there were struggles snapping the football at times, but listen, he did an excellent job blocking, and that's all you really can ask for out of your center. And to me, now that Connor Williams is really off the table, it's time to bring in Greg Van Roten. We have talked about him at absolute nauseum about adding to this Dolphins roster to complete it. The right guard position is the last remaining team need. After the draft, I came up here and told you the 3 needs for the Dolphins after the 2024 draft was number 1 right guard, number 2, third safety, and number 3, interior defensive line help. Well, they signed Marcus May to be the third safety. They signed Calais Campbell to be the interior defensive line help alongside Zach Sealer. The only thing that needs to be checked off is that right guard spot, and to me, I think it needs to be Greg Van Roten, and I'll tell you why in just a second. But I want to make sure you guys could get this Miami Dolphins t-shirt combo. It is $25 off. Yes, you heard that correctly. $25 off right now at chatsports.com/Dolphins combo. Usually $60 for the 2 tees. Right now, only $35. Links in the description and comments for you. But one more time, chatsports.com/Dolphins combo. Pick yours up today. The reason why I think Van Roten is the perfect addition to this Dolphins roster is because he's coming off one of the best years in his career, if not the best. A journeyman interior offensive lineman who has primarily played right guard, obviously the position that Miami needs the most. He posted a top 10 pass blocking grade on PFF on all interior offensive linemen, and that's something that's very intriguing to me because, well, that's on that line side of Tua because he's a lefty and the right tackle, right guard becomes a little bit more important, as is left guard, left tackle for normal right-handed quarterbacks. So Van Roten, who is going to be someone who could come in and work really well next to Austin Jackson and fortify that blind side for Tagovailoa, which would just allow him to have more times to throw it deep down the hill to OBJ, Jalen Waddle, and Tyreek Hill. And to me, it's so simple and should get done very soon. Like, they have the cap space to do it. After the Calais Campbell numbers came in, which we did a video on that last Friday, which was an absolute stunner, if you ask me, that the Dolphins still have $16 million in cap space because Calais Campbell is practically playing for the vet min alongside Marcus May. And this accounts for the 2 rookie signings that didn't come in until a couple weeks ago in Chop Robinson and Patrick Paul. So the Dolphins have $16 million in cap space to either help extensions where you could front load contracts, restructure, do a bunch of different things. You have so much flexibility, and that's why I think with the flexibility you have, this signing of Greg Van Roten should get done absolutely as soon as possible. To me, there's no reason to wait to bring in GVR. You saw his numbers. We've talked about him in depth on the channel. We know the right guard position is the biggest need on this team. Why not carve out $4 or $5 million? That's probably on the high side for Greg Van Roten as well, to just get that right guard spot completely finished, to have your roster finalized, and let's go in the training camp with an expectation to make the Super Bowl, goddamn win it, because I think this is a top 10 roster in all of football, and if everyone takes another step, I think that's a realistic possibility. So be Chris Grier for me. Do you want to sign Greg Van Roten? You know, if I was Chris Grier and I was running this team, he would be on the roster already. But let me know what y'all have to say. Type Y for yes or type N for no. The reason why we hammer home Greg Van Roten on this channel so much is because the other options to help fortify this offensive line just simply aren't that good. Like, I don't want to be disrespectful to these NFL free agents, but there's a reason why they are still available here in mid-June. Mark Lewinsky, Nick Gates, Phil Haynes, Trey Turner, and Vaitai from the Lions are the top 5 offensive linemen available in terms of the interior. And I just am not a fan of these 5 guys. And listen, there's only one guy on this 5-man list outside of Greg Van Roten that I'd be willing to bring in, and Mark Lewinsky is that man. I still prefer GVR and still want to sign him, but I would only bring in Lewinsky if there was a can't do Greg Van Roten type possibility here, because he is a nasty run blocker and he really gets to the second level of the defense at a really good rate. Like, there are some clips that I was watching, some film, where he has a pretty strong get off, and then when he gets to that second level, he just mauls the linebackers and safeties at some time. And you see throughout his last 4 seasons, he's always had a decent run blocking grade. He was better with the Colts outside of the Giants years, but he was someone who used to be a very good, above average starting right guard for the Indianapolis Colts. And maybe Lewinsky is someone that Chris Grier will consider bringing in. Maybe he won't. But all I know is this. Is like, I'd like to complete this roster. And if I'm talking specifically to Chris Grier right now, do you really feel confident in Robert Jones, Jack Driscoll, Liam Eichenberg, Lester Cotton to be the starting right guard for this Dolphins team? The rest of this roster is too good to have that glaring of a hole at right guard. I get it. No roster is perfect. But that right guard committee is not good. So why not go out there, sign Greg Van Roten, feel comfortable about your starting right guard, and then we can just focus on making this team the best team that is possible in training camp and getting the offense put together. To me, it makes too much sense. And Chris Grier, if you're watching this, which I think you are, get the Greg Van Roten signing done now. All right, that's going to do it for today's show. And, well, I'll tell you what, if GVR does sign with the Miami Dolphins, like Marcus May, like Calais Campbell, we will have a video. So make sure you hit that sub button and join us here at Dolphins Today as we have content coming out every single day. I'm Nic Rohloff. I'll see you with a video tomorrow. Go Fins.